Okay guys, welcome. I'm going to do a midday recap of the stock market. We're going to use technical analysis. We're going to go through a couple trade ideas and a couple of things that I've pointed out. And if you follow this channel regularly, you'll see how I piece these trades and these trade ideas together. They don't come all at once. I don't typically say, look, what I found, here's a great trade. Usually I tell you about it in advance. I tell you it's starting to set up. I tell you to look for certain signs and look for certain triggers. And then we get those triggers and we take advantage and we make money. Or we don't get the trigger and we don't take the trade. So that's typically how it works. So usually when I'm pointing out things, I'm just kind of priming the pump so that you can look for the things that I'm looking for. And then look for, we take advantage when we get those setups starting to trigger. So NASDAQ futures, look, here's the thing. We're just ripping higher today. And today on the NASDAQ futures, we're just popping above this range. However, look, it's Thanksgiving week, low volume week. This is nothing this is not market consensus, okay? So when you get breakouts on weird random weeks like this or weird days, don't trust it, is, in my opinion. So we're just slightly above. I suspect they fade it probably at the end of the day or sometime today. They'll hammer it. Look at the ES. ES is right here at the range. There's your range right there. And you can see we're just right there. It popped above it briefly, but they're selling it back down. So again, look for those ranges to hold. That in general, I'm not trading the general markets right now. I'm not short Qs or long or anything like that. I'm just letting kind of that play itself out till I can get a better signal. Longer term, if you want to look at the longer term stuff, you can go to the weekly and you'll see we've got big negative divergence right here on the weekly. So longer term, I think we're going lower, but that doesn't mean over the next week or month or, there's a lot of froth in the market that I'm noticing right now. All these little speculative stocks are popping like Tesla and NEO and all these kind of the retail stocks that everybody's interested in, the retail traders at least. They're all just getting bid up on low volume because the institutions aren't trading this week for the most part. So it's just retail traders, and those retail traders chase. They chase hot stocks. So when you see the hot stocks getting bid up on light volume weeks like this week, it's retail trade. Wait till the institutional money comes back in and see what they do. I suspect they're going to smash some of these things. Okay, so let's recover gold again. You can see gold. Let's go back to the hourly. We're selling off, and we sold. Let me just zoom it out. This is kind of your major support right here, about 1790. We're at 1805, so we could go a little bit lower. I started buying Barrick Gold this morning. I bought on the open, but I'm not fully expecting this to be the very bottom. There is potential for it to go a little lower. And let me kind of show you guys what I'm looking at. Gold, 1790 on gold is major support, so that should hold, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to dip through it or have some stop rating action through it where we kind of slice down, sell off hard, and then they buy it up. That's completely possible, so look for that. Barrick Gold, the reason why, here's Barrick Gold. So I bought it at the open today. So far that thing is up basically from the open to where we're at right now. We're up about 2%. So gold selling off, up 2% Barrick Gold. And my entry was today. Why was my entry today? Well, one, we're hitting, we're right in the area where major support is at on gold bullion, and the miners were selling off pretty hard. And then on Barrick, you have this bullish falling wedge, and we opened below it and instantly recovered it. So that's bullish. To break down from a bullish falling wedge and instantly recover it, that's bullish. It's still not a potential longer term buy signal. And the reason why I think we could potentially go a little bit lower is the daily does not have bullish divergence. Here's your hourly. See the bullish divergence right there on the hourly, how momentum is actually moving higher, and yet price made a new lower price today. That's bullish divergence. That tells me that we're going higher. However, on the daily, we don't have that. On the daily, we just have a low RSI reading of 27. So usually I like to see the bullish divergence start to show up on the daily chart before a major swing trade can be taken. And that's why I think maybe what we could do is pop a little bit higher on on Barrett Gold, you know, maybe break out, make them run higher, and then sell off a little bit more, putting in a slightly marginal new low and creating that bullish divergence on the daily. So I'm watching for that. I'm not saying that we're at the potential very lowest. Until I see that bullish divergence on the daily, we might just have a short-term trade on our hands. But the buyers are there today like I thought they would be, and we're getting a bullish reaction so far. So far, so good. Look, Franco-Nevada FNV has bullish divergence on the daily. See this right here? Mark it out here, right there. See how the momentum is continuing to make higher lows and it's moving up, and yet price made a new lower low today. So that was a bullish low, and they stepped in and bought it up. So in general, you know, we look for bullish price. I'm looking for bullish price action in some of these miners. Okay, XLV. Look what's going on here. Bear flag right there. There's your flagpole. Flagging out, and this is just rough. You know, I'm just drawing this up roughly. I'm not giving you the exact levels here, but and projected target. So gap fill. You know, gap filling, probably even potentially this 103.62. Excuse me. So look for that to break down. I don't know if it's going to happen today. We're just kind of flagging out, and so you know this flag starting to form. You need some more data points to really determine the flag, but I think that's what's happening in this. Okay, PayPal. All right, so I told everyone the other day I took a short in this one again. I added to it today. Here's what I like. And again, it's not the best trade. It's a little higher risk, so I just want to point that out. But here's what I like about it. We have, if you go to the daily, we've got negative divergence right here. Big negative divergence. If I move this down, it's like that. See the momentum? It just continues to downtrend. Now, price, you know, this price here was a divergent high, making a lower momentum peak than the previous high right here. So momentum continues to fade. The other thing to notice is this is your island cluster top reversal. The way you trade these is you get the gap up, it creates the island, and then it gaps down, and you short on the gap down. And you can see it sold off impulsively. Now you're getting the kickback rally where typically they'll run it right up into kind of the cluster, and it looks like they're just popping it above the top, trying to run some stops. That's what it looks like to me. Now, any more movement, like if it holds right here and builds on this and keeps going higher, I stop out, all right? So it's right at the area where I'm at my level of risk, and that's when I want to take entries, is close to where I know I'm wrong if it continues to move higher. And you can see they popped it, but again, it's still right in the area. So if it starts to roll over, then I've got a great positioning, great entry on additional short shares here on PayPal. This trade, if it really does play out, there's the potential for this thing to fade all the way down to 130. Big, huge gap right here. See that gap? Big old daily gap that has not been filled. So we continue to put in bearish divergence on the daily chart, telling me that we're going to head down or should be heading down. Now, unless we burn through the divergence, then that's what that's telling me. So I see this gap as a very potential target, and that's what I'm targeting right now. Carvana. All right, so this one looks like a great short. There was a sell signal triggered. Let me show you what I got. All right, on the daily, negative divergence. You can see right there, big negative divergence, really going back for quite a while. Now, that's why divergence is not necessarily a sell signal. It just tells you the potential of a trend reversal. And a lot of people, I've seen comments where people say, go the opposite of what I say and you'll do well. And that makes sense because my strategy is looking for trend reversals. So trends, when you have bearish divergences or bullish divergences, that's signaling that a trend reversal is coming, but it doesn't say that the trend reversal is right now. And so oftentimes I start telling you, okay, I think a trend's coming. We look for the sell signal, and then stocks continue to trend for a little while. Doesn't mean that's somewhere that you want to just get long on. If usually that's the end of the trend. So the trend can continue for a little longer after the setups start to show up. They're just a cue that, okay, be on the lookout because the trend's about to reverse. And usually when the trend reverses, it catches all those people that have been riding the trend off guard. You know, the ones that have stayed into the trend too long, and when the negative divergences show up and they don't exit the trade or don't tighten their stops, it usually catches those people off guard, and they end up kind of being the bag holders. And so that is, you know, they'll say everything's good and go the opposite until one day they wake up and it's down 10% and they've given up all their gains and maybe even on some losses. That's very common. It's just how it works with you know, when you're writing trends and not heeding the warnings. I see a warning here with negative divergence. Now, what do we have? We made a new marginal high right here. See the new high? Just a slightly new high on the daily chart yesterday and today, slightly above the previous high right here, and fading off, selling off. So that makes sense, you know, because you've got negative divergence. So marginal new high, sell it off. They're starting to smash it. Look at the hourly chart. Here's an hourly trend, couple reactions, not a lot, so it's not the heaviest weighted trend line, but a couple reactions, and we're starting to impulsively break down. So maybe we gyrate, you know, have a kickback rally or whatever, but ultimately this looks like it's going lower. Negative divergence on the daily. I think we break down, and you know, we still never filled this gap down here. So now if we ever get down to this 174.27, we're not going to just fill the gap. Most likely we're going to probably break lower and potentially head down to this 125 because we'd had two attempts of filling it and the buyers stepped in. So now if you get back down, you're probably going to fill the gap and more. Okay, so I am short Carvana for the record. So if I'm wrong, I can have all the trolls come out and smash me later. But for now, I put it out there, let everyone know that I am short. All right, moving on. SQ looks interesting. Same setup as Carvana, basically. You've got big negative divergence that's been building for quite a while on the daily chart. And again, these can build for a while, and then eventually they can just get burned through. But usually they're going to play out. And you can see here, this is your uptrend. Now we've just been in this kind of topping action where, yes, it's still been trending up, but way weaker momentum. This is strong momentum, just straight up, basically. Then you break trend, and now it's just like, look at the volatility. All right, no, hardly any volatility here, just a grind higher. And now you've got big moves up and down. The volatility is increasing, telling me that we're topping / we're going to reverse trend. And then if you look at the hourly here, there's a trend line on the hourly. We're breaking. It's not impulsive yet, so that's why I don't love this one quite yet. I'd like to see it a little more impulsive. Let's wait to see if there's a little bit more impulsive selling, some sort of a trigger or a clear sign that this thing's breaking down. It's not quite there yet. This thing broke, but it's just drifting sideways. Maybe it comes in the form of a gap down tomorrow, but I'd like to see that first. On the daily, though, you can see marginal new high here. This is a divergent high. All this price action right up here in the last couple days have made all-time new highs, and it's also a marginal new high, and it's a divergent high, so it's on less momentum, telling me that this is likely. Divergent highs have a high probability of failing, so that's what that says. The probability of failing is high, and I like probabilities being in my favor when I'm shorting. Neo here, we're just continuing to watch this, but looks to me like this is going to come down to this trend line. Probably going to happen today or tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow they open it right at the trend line. No sell signals yet, still uptrending, but bullish or negative divergence on the daily, telling me that this trend is on its final legs, basically. So I am watching for a break of the trend for the sell signal on the daily. And again, this is a daily chart, so ideally you want to see a daily close before taking a position. However, this thing being such a high-flying momentum stock, I suspect by the time you get that sell signal, it's going to be a big gap down, and it might not be the most objective area to enter a short position. So what I'm going to do likely is I'm going to start building a short position. I'm starting to build a small short position. I'm not going to go too heavy on this one regardless because of the volatility. So my position sizing is smaller. When you have high volatility stocks, you want to scale back your position size. But I'm going to start stepping in a little bit ahead of the sell signal. I think it's coming, so I'll just start scaling into it. So if it keeps trending higher, I'll just scale in up to a certain point. Where's the point? Well, you know, this is at all-time highs, so there's no objective area to just stop out at. You know, and that's why I'm taking a small position. And you know, if it rips, you know, I'm going to give it some room, probably 5-10%. And if it rips 5-10%, you know, probably 10%. You really have to give it about 10% on this one. If it goes that far against me, I'll take a loss. But again, position sizing is key. If you have your position at a certain size and it's small enough, 10% on small position doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt you too bad. However, you know, if you're right, you can potentially have a gain of 45% down to this trend line. So, you know, 10% loss, 45% gain, good risk-reward ratio. That comes into all my calculations. And the thing that I like about NEO, see the divergence, see how it's turned down. The RSI has already started to turn down. So it's confirming basically, and you see the PPO is starting to cross negative. So everything looks like it's going to start to head down. Tesla doesn't have that, and that's why I'm not really interested in shorting Tesla yet, because Tesla is still pointed up. See, the PPO is pointed up, RSI is pointed up. Everything is pointed to higher momentum. So the momentum's just running strong on this one to the upside. I don't want to step in yet, and I don't want to be long this thing, but I don't want to step in and short it yet. I need some more signals. So until I get some sell signals or something starting to play out, I'm just going to let this one, I'm just going to watch it basically. That's all I'm doing for this one. I did point out that I thought it was, you know, going to be an objective short soon, and I still think that. It's just, I don't know when. It's not there yet. It hasn't shown up in the chart, so I just have to wait. Okay, let's look at a couple subscriber picks just to mix it up a little bit. Here's Datadog. Someone said it looks like a good short, and I don't necessarily agree, but we'll see what we got. So here's the RSI. That's bullish divergence right there on the RSI. See how we're making lower prices and yet the momentum's moving higher. So bullish divergence. Now it can get burned through, and if you sell off a lot more, it can come down and look like that and just continue. But as of right now, it's bullish. So I don't like that as a short. The PPO, you can see, looks like it's starting to cross over. The point is, you had negative divergence right, you know, really right up here. You've got big negative divergence right there. You had it right there. This was all negative divergent price action, but you had sell-offs that came following, and we've already sold off. So here's your last divergent high, and you've sold off 25%. So again, it was a good short potentially up here, and what I would look for is, you know, when we had negative divergence, I would have looked for some sort of a trend line break, and, you know, maybe something like that. I don't know. This thing's something like that, I guess. And, you know, your sell signal maybe would have been right in here. So this was a divergent high area, and you broke trend right there. I'd much rather short D-Dog right here with negative divergence before the sell-off and then write it down than down here after the fact. So, again, don't chase. That's my motto. I don't chase. You know, if something's down 25%, I'm not looking to short something down 25%. You know, sometimes I am. It depends on the chart. You know, if it's down 25%, but it's just now breaking a major support, then I'll short it. But yeah, I don't see that one. Here's Plug. This one, you've got, how's this setting up? Yeah, right there. That's something right in there. We'll have to tighten it up here. Something like that. I could tighten it up, but for you know, explanation purposes, look, you've got this upward channel, all pretty much is like a bearish rising wedge. We've popped to the upside just the other day, but again, remember, this is just yesterday. This week is a low volume, tricky week, so don't trust this week is what I'm saying. You get a breakout this week, don't trust it. If the breakout comes next week, that's a different story, but this week, I wouldn't trust it. So, and then today they're selling it off, bringing it back down. So low probability area that this continues higher. The higher probability now I see is that it comes down to the bottom of the channel, down around 20 bucks or so. You do have negative divergence. You can see we made an equal high on the RSI, and we made a higher high in price. And then the PPO, clear negative divergence there, lower PPO, higher price. So negative divergent in a low probability area, you know, I think it probably comes down to $20. I don't know if it'll do it tomorrow or maybe next week, but that's what I see on that one. And then we'll wrap up. Let's look at some Bitcoin. I know that's been on a tear higher. I don't invest or buy Bitcoin. I just don't really fundamentally believe in it. But I understand why people like it. But however, you can always trade a stock on it. I just don't see anything. I haven't seen any trades recently. I did point out in another video, Overstock, OSTK, that had lagged, and there was a potential for it to rip to the upside. So we'll look at that. But here's the Gbtc, which is a Bitcoin trust. And look, you have bullish momentum. See the momentum right here on the daily? It just continues to move higher. And price is moving higher. So in general, bullish. Now this thing's gone parabolic just about. Doesn't mean it can't just keep going higher. I would never step in and just short this right here. I don't see any sell signals. However, I wouldn't chase it either because it's already up. I mean, from what is this? The September, it's up 140%. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. But you look at the hourly here. Bullish momentum. See there's no divergence. We're just continuing higher in the momentum, continuing higher in the price. So until I start to see negative divergences showing up, this is bullish. And you've got a trend line here. Here's your hourly trend line, just walking up the trend line. Bullish. It's in an uptrend. Until I see anything showing up, which I think it'll probably come soon, you'll start to see negative divergences, starting to show up. But until then, bullish trend. And here's Overstock. It's a Bitcoin proxy. For some reason, this company decided to lever themselves to Bitcoin back when Bitcoin was up around 20,000 the last time. They just jumped on the momentum train and decided to tie themselves to it. And so, there's your rally trade. This thing from the lows here up 38%. You can see, let's look to see what kind of indicator or advanced warning we had. We had it right there. See that? Bullish momentum. See the bullish divergence? You made a higher high in the RSI, and yet price was way down here, making a new lower low. Price was like this. So that's your divergent low. That's what I pointed out in the other video, that we have a divergent low, and Bitcoin was rallying. So from that divergent low, you got a 38% gain. I shorted this thing when it broke trend right here down to here, so that was a good trade. I didn't catch this thing long. I'm not trying to go long a lot of stocks right now. I'm really more interested in short trades because of the general market. Here's the SPY. Let me just show you the month, all right? This is the monthly chart on the SPY. 2009 lows. Here's your bull market trend. Here's your break-in trend in 2018. And so you're below trend. That's the point. We're below trend. Now on a monthly chart, you can backtest for years, and we have. But to me, this all seems like topping action. And so I'm not really looking for longs. I'm looking for shorts, especially when we're up here near what looks to be the major, the resistance line up around this area. So we can go a little higher, and prices can go higher. But I think we're in the area where we're going to start to get rejected again in a major way. And if you get rejected in a major way on this chart, that's going to be a big long bear market. And so I think that we get rejected, and I think ultimately we come down to something like this, down 50-60%. Probably we're going to have reactions on our way down. We're not going to do it all at once, but I think that's a pretty reasonable target for this top, for a bear market, basically. So that's why I'm not looking for a lot of long ideas. Although, they're out there. I pointed out the oil trade recently, and we caught huge gains on that. Chevron got a 20% gain. ExxonMobil, huge gain on that. XLE, big gain on that. So I point out the good long trades that make sense. But again, I try to find the move that's going to happen, not what's actually happening right now. And that's my trading style. So thank you. A long video. I'm going to wrap it up for today. You guys leave me a thumbs up. And I will catch you guys on the next one.